Works and Utilities Committee meeting to order. Attendance, please.
Terry?
Here.
Robert?
Here.
David?
Present.
Christina?
Here.
Donnie? Landon?
Okay. We have a quorum. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, how about we open up comments from citizens?
Statement that I want to make, that we're going to make before most all meetings now. We get feedback from people that watch the video, that there's chatter and stuff during the meetings and stuff that takes away from the audio being clear for them to see it when they rebound. So when we, during the public comments, it's great, and after that, the chatter's got to stop because we're getting some feedback from some folks, and by procedure, we shouldn't be having it anyway. So just want everybody to know, okay? Here we go.
Linda Borman, 800 Jason Court. Two things. The website for finding these agendas and minutes and stuff, it sucks. I like the format that this stuff comes in, but you have to click on like 4 or 5 different things in order to pull up the agenda and actually see any of this stuff. And I mean, before it was just one click and you were there. So anyway, and what is this net whatever thing that we're going to be talking, you're all going to be talking about tonight? The net metering module or whatever.
It's something in our utility billing system that will help us accurately and easily bill for people that have solar panels and solar meters. Net metering has to do with taking whatever they use and whatever they produce, and then you get the net reading for it and billing for that. Our current system doesn't allow it to happen easily.
Okay, I was just curious. I didn't know what it was until I was just asking.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments from citizens? Seeing none, we will close comments from citizens, which brings us to number 4 for water and sewer. Activity reports in the packet. Anything you want to point out?
Keeping Phil and his crew busy with cutting roads up and making holes. Kind of a normal month with that stuff. We're starting to get in a little more detail on startup on the water plant and different operations there. So that's starting to happen weekly now. Hopefully we're getting very, very close.
Do we have an estimated start date yet, or is...
We have a idea, and our idea keeps getting pushed back, so. No, they're there, they're trying to get, a lot of it is waiting on parts. So, that's big hold up right now, is so we've got a couple valves that haven't showed up yet from the beginning, so.
It's the world we live in today,
Yeah.
so.
The big test will probably be tomorrow with the clarifiers, getting them all set up. That's the main thing. It's going to be the trickiest, I think, for them to have working right and balanced.
Anything specific for sewer or other?
No.
On the water side, we are looking at some new possibilities of meter reading ability. The current system is no longer going to be available and will not work. What's coming out will not work with tantalus. So we're looking to see what we can do, still using kind of what we got, but changing to everything the same but different.
We're trying to find a water meter that will read easily with our tantalus system, with our AMI system, because that's why we purchased it to begin with, was because it was a system that would read our existing, or we were doing the change out for the electric meters, and it would read our existing water meters. Now we're being told that our water meters, the Orion meters, they're not going to make those anymore, and Itron has pulled away from Midwest Meter, which is who we purchased from, and they are no longer a supplier. That doesn't mean we can't get Itron water meters, because I believe the electric is Itron as well. So Itron water meters would possibly read. But we have another option. We talked to Neptune as well. Neptune says, yeah, we think that might work, but if you buy our reading system, we can make them talk to each other. And that really, to us, kind of defeats the purpose of purchasing a $791,000 system if we can't make them integrate together and one system read all of it. So we're in the process of talking to other cities that have dual reading systems. We're trying to actually get contacts to talk to. We've reached out to Tantalus. We didn't have a lot of luck finding information, so we're going to do a lot of that on our own. And talk to Neptune to see if maybe we can get some cities that they weren't very familiar with Tantalus anyway. So it's just a little bit of a struggle. So we want to be able to have good information to bring to the board to show you what we researched and what we found that we think would work best for our system without having to have two standalone reading systems.
I haven't had a chance to tell Heather, but I did get a text before my phone decided to quit that I do have a contact through Tantalus that has worked with the different systems, so I'm gonna try to contact him tomorrow and see if we can get somewhere on, whether it be Neptune or Itron.
Okay. Obviously, more to come there. Anything else, ma'am? Okay. We'll move on to electric, activity reports in the packet. Anything you might plan?
We got all of the school zone lights, all the timers and basically disconnects and everything dug in and pole set. Now we're just waiting on the rest of our basically school zone lights, and that's been in for about a month now and still have yet to get them. Did quite a bit of tree trimming this month. We finally got our 120 volt meters in, so we're gonna change out all those. Got all this taken care of, but other than that, got two new guys in our department this last month. Working on the third one now, so I have a pretty improved, I feel like I'm doing some pretty good stuff, so.
Any good applicants yet?
We have received 2 applications so far. We haven't had a chance really to review those, so not quite sure yet. We do have
Probably should have asked if you had any applicants, not good.
we have 2 applications.
Too soon to ask that portion of the question, sorry.
We do have the job posted on the NPA website and on the NNL website, as well as our city website and Facebook. So we cast a broad net to get some.
I mean, the key is we're trying to hire, or am I correct, right? I mean, we're trying to hire for experience this time.
We are.
We need to put some experience in the department to help that out.
We think that Matt has a good team. He's building a really good team, but they are young and inexperienced. So
They're
far,
just a little green.
Little
They
green.
definitely have willing and able to do the work. They're just
Sure.
fine tuning and
he's got some good
doing the
development.
easy ways and not necessarily just the strong ways.
Yeah, good long list here. Everybody's on site getting trained as they go, so.
Yeah, these guys accomplished a lot of things here, so, especially with the young team and short. Good job.
I seen the training in place. I stopped by the other day to, when Dylan was leaving, and I wanted to wish him luck and thank him for service, and seen that training go on firsthand, somebody in the bucket, somebody on the ground, and Matt coaching and instructing from there, so it was kind of neat to see, so very encouraging.
Anything under generation, purchase, distribution?
It seems to be going okay.
Which brings us to the net metering module, which, didn't know what it was either, so,
So this is something we had talked about whenever we switched over from CDSW to UMS, which is our billing system. We upgraded it to be able to accommodate the AMI system. Net metering, which has to do with solar meters. So you have customers who use electricity, but they also generate electricity. So you take those 2 numbers and subtract what they generate from what they use. Well, now that it's summer, several of them generate more than what they've used, and so they're getting this negative number. And it wasn't such an issue before. We actually, until we went to the AMI, we never had anybody that had negative usage. Or if we did, it was very few and far between. So the way our policy is set up is we bill for retail, but if they have a negative usage, we give that back to them in wholesale. So what has to happen right now is Samantha has to pull all of the solar bills out that have negative usage and hand figure what that calculation is that we give them back onto their account. And it just takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I feel like if we continue to get more customers that install solar, that we're gonna continue to have this problem. And this eliminates that. It'll just automatically calculate it for us. The negative usage will be given a credit at the wholesale rate, and we don't have to worry about trying to catch these every single month and then go back and make adjustments. And I feel like it's cleaner from an auditing perspective as well, because we're not adjusting bills.
And for the customers, because I'm a solar customer and my bill is always, I don't know, I just pay what she highlights. I used to call and try to figure it all out, but it's a lot of, they added this, they took this, they added this, they took this. I mean, it was long and very confusing, and I'm excited to have something different.
Yeah.
So are we able to program it with our logic, or like you said, we bill at retail and charge?
Yeah, this program will allows you to do a couple of different things to do. They call it a true up rate. We have two options available: fair market value that lets us set the rate, current rate, or forfeit excess usage. So what they, I look at it kind of similar to comp time. If we ever chose to change our policy, they could bank up all of that extra usage, and then in those months that you don't generate a lot, then it would start taking it off until you had used that all up. But if you do that, then at the end, let's just say we do it during our fiscal year, April through March, then in March, it's gonna true it all up, and then if you have any extra left over, you don't get credit for that, it just goes away. So I don't know that that's something that we really wanna do. I mean, the benefit for customers for having solar is to be able to offset their costs, and that to me seems like it might be a waste for the customer.
Can I ask a question? I know I'm not supposed
Why don't
to.
you come up to the microphone so people can hear if I'm recording, please?
Sorry.
Moving
So-
forward, we're gonna.
How many people do we have on solar? I'm just curious. I
Right
don't
now,
know.
I think it's somewhere 8 to 10.
Okay.
It's not a whole lot, but it does take quite a bit of time.
Oh, I'm sure
to
it
true up
does.
those bills.
Anytime you're working like that. I just
Yeah.
didn't know how many customers we
Yeah.
had using it, so. I was
Yeah,
just
it's quite a
curious.
few more now. I think we added 4 in the last year, maybe, something like that. So we,
And it's gonna be,
They've doubled
it's
it?
gonna be a growing industry. mean,
I
it's
don't-
gonna
I think it
continue to
is.
grow like that.
so then we talked about the cost. It's gonna cost $10,000 to add this to our system. But it doesn't say that it doesn't change anything on our annual maintenance cost for the UMS system, so. I could get a number of hours that Sam is spending on it, but
So they told you that it doesn't change the annual, because it says right here that it might impact the annual.
they have not told us that it does, so I will find out for sure.
Look into the comments there.
Okay.
And something that maybe we wanna check on, with all this programming and interfacing and logistics of it, right, and the logic on board with all this stuff, we probably really wanna make sure that we're taking a close look at how long they're gonna support the platform after the platform is finished, because they have a legal responsibility to support the program for so long in the contracting they do with you up front. So we need to probably find that out, you know what I'm saying? To where if next year it becomes obsolete, say, and it tells, oh, it's not gonna go away for 10 years, but we've all had that happen to us, and then all of a sudden, next year they say, oh, by the way, this is gonna be a new version, you'd have to pay for it. Well, how long will they support it? So that may be something for us to make sure that we start to check on. Because we have a lot of these programs that we're interfacing with.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure they're going to be supported,
Right.
right? Makes sense?
And this is inside our UMS module, so, but it would interface, so right now, TuneNet does calculate our net readings and pulls in net readings, but it's where you have that negative usage that ends up making it so confusing.
Is that possibly a human error too?
Yeah,
Concerning,
Yeah.
so.
yeah.
But it has happened.
yeah. Unfortunately, and it's confusing whenever you're training new staff on the system and they come and say, hey, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, I don't know, because we haven't had this before.
So a couple questions to verify things.
We will, and then, I'll have those questions answered by next Monday, and then we'll have, I'd like to present this for approval next Monday. That is my intention, so.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else for electric? Anyone? No? Okay, move on to public works. With the street department, activity reports in the packet. No, anything?
Just a pretty typical month. We've been mowing, sweeping, patching potholes, did quite a bit of drainage work, a lot of culverts for homeowners. Following Matt around patching street cuts. He's keeping me busy on that. Several more to go. Did a lot of weed and spring weeds around town, so we get things caught up and cleaned up.
Anything specific for streets, sanitation, stormwater, other?
Yeah,
No?
Pretty well covered it.
Okay. Mike?
Main thing's been running back and forth with Matt out there at the water plant, trying to get wastewater buttoned down on a few things yet. Looking at equipment use, things we're looking forward to doing as far as moving equipment around. I'll explain a little bit of that later, so. Other than that, just like a lot of calls for a lot of people still building, setting up sheds, fences, and that's about it on that.
Okay. See, we have so this is the other.
Yes.
From Altech in the packet?
Yeah, the All-Tech is, we're looking at another little wing, a smaller bucket truck for the electric department. We went through Sourcewell. This is pretty identical to what they have, with the exception it's an extended cab, so they can actually put their gear in, not have to throw it in the back of the truck and get wet, so gives them a little more room. Price, of course, went up with everything that's going on.
I think our capital had 135.
Yeah. So, this is what we're to on this. If you look down delivery, it'll be a year probably before we can get the truck if we order it right now. So it's something we kinda need to get on the books if we could. This was a budgeted item, but maybe not at that price. Heather said that that price could be done through the equipment.
Yeah. The electric department is a healthy enough fund that we can absorb that extra that we did not budget for.
$15,000 already done.
Yeah.
15,000.
Okay.
So on that note,
Is that an agenda for next week?
Yeah.
on that note, we were also thinking about getting a new mini for next year. And we've been talking to all the departments, and the little mini that the electric department has, Kubota right now, is probably the most used piece of equipment we got. That and the water department backhoe. Because of we were gonna do this next year, because this is moving, it'll be next year probably before this shows up, we're gonna move this up. And what we'd like to do, we'd like to put the street department's backhoe, the New Holland, up for sale, transfer the water department's backhoe to the street department, get a new mini, size bigger than what we have in electric, to cover that. They said that they're running into more issues with landscaping stuff, with the heaviness of the equipment. They do most of their stuff right up there close to the meters or in the yards, fixing stuff, or in the street, which the mini will do the same thing as the backhoe, with sometimes better reach and get closer to it. So, in configuring all that, if we trade backhoe up, Phil's got the New Holland, Phil's probably the only one that can actually run that piece of equipment, if you wanna get right down to it. It's so ass backwards from anything else we got. The controls are not the same. It's not as heavy. They put a heavy load in, the thing wants to tilt a little bit, it's not a smooth ride. Four-wheel drive will work for Phil in the wintertime, that Matt and them have right now. Extended hold will reach and get anything we need to do. Help with cleanup. All the departments were in favor of getting rid of the new haul. It's just not, it'll sit there rather than use it. So a lot of times when Phil's grabbing the Mini, Matt would like to have his own Mini too, so if we could do, he could use Matt's, Matt could use the backhoe back and forth, this would give us more versatility.
So it sounds like a bulk of the work is being done with these minis anyway.
Right. You need a backhoe for the winter time to help load things, rock, snow, but, Matt said he would be just as comfortable in a Mini as with the backhoe. Phil would be getting a great backhoe.
So does this 67,289 fit in our, I know it's our proposed budget for next year. There's a note it's not approved.
And
think
what- but well, you're also gonna get money out of the, if we sell the backhoe, what do you
Yeah, we'll
estimate
get-
that's good for?
Used backhoe like Phil's, we're finding them anywhere from 38 to 45, pretty consistent. And, which is a big chunk of what the tractor would be.
What would it be under?
What did we have? It's not in order. Oh, is it in We had a backyard machine, but we're not gonna do that one. So for next year, we had listed 145,000 for a backyard machine in the electric department. This would be in replacement, we wouldn't do a backyard machine.
If you want a skid loader, then you can go down the road.
But actually could offset the 15 we would overspend. I mean, moving the money around, it's actually not an issue.
Right.
Now I've got one little caveat to throw in with this Traco.
Here's the buck, okay.
I think there's one in the state of Missouri and it's sitting in Columbia right now. And they're waiting to hear what we're gonna do.
So basically, we got a budget of 135 this year. We're gonna move a little into next year and buy this for 67 and some change.
Yeah, essentially, we would look to see if we could approve the bud purchase for the little wing, but we won't actually pay it out until next fiscal year.
Yeah.
But we would try to,
On delivery.
yes,
Yeah. 330 to 360 days.
yeah.
He said there's a chance maybe March, but he said it'll be next year, so.
So,
Now, if I could, I think he would be fine, they haven't pulled it around or did anything to it. Once they pull it and put it up in the building, get everything ready, it has to go on the lot. So they have not did that. Time they do that, he said you're looking at a couple, 2 to 3 days to do that. I can probably get to Monday, if I can say, we're gonna probably do this. And I can give them a PO number just to hold until after next Monday night, if you wanna do that.
I thought the auditors didn't want no purchases until the regular board meeting.
that's next Monday night?
I wouldn't be doing it, just that they'd have
Do
something to
the
hold.
next day.
We could have a consensus of what you all think that might happen, and then we can do the official approval next Monday. You can instruct Mike to,
So I'm in favor of
I mean, if it's in the budget for next year, we're not gonna pay for it next year, my vote would be yes.
I did yes as well.
Yes.
It looks like it's a good appropriation of product, you know, the equipment and for the needs and
The guys are doing a good job. When somebody needs something, they give it up and the next person uses what's left to do. And this way, I think we have plenty of equipment to do that.
Sounds like the right thing to do.
I'd be supportive of it.
So it looks like you got the support of the board to at least put a
Put a
pencil,
hold.
put it in pencil that we're gonna take it and you give them a feel.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
I think that's enough.
Any as may arise?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Have a first and a second that we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Anybody need a break?
No.
All right, I call this meeting of the General Government and Public Safety Committee to order. I know attendance has already been taken. Any comments from citizens? Hearing none, moving on. Public Safety, Fire Department activity reports in your packet. Anything you want to point out, Denny?
No, I mean, the air pack thing, we're still working on it. The cascade system, which we used to fill it. A guy called me today and said he thinks the new bottles will be in the next week or so, and I reminded him that I've done unloaded them over there, so he didn't even know it, so. Whatever.
Yep, they'll be here next week.
Another batch.
So we've got that, and I think he'll come next week and finish up that part of it, then we'll go for the rest of it. Other than that, we've been fixing a few odds and ends, running a few calls, and I'm probably gonna steal the boys Thursday night at this meeting and run out and help them, the VFW guys wanna, I think there's one more row of flags that need to be drilled out and set in, so they're boning for help, so I think we'll go out there and take some of my equipment and we'll just go out there and see if we can help get it
That's
over
good,
with.
Thank you.
Find some of his water lines.
One thing on that.
Find some of your water lines.
They've got them all marked, I think. We'll just
It's all right, no worse than
Man, no way, sure. Other than that, we've got everything
Good.
flowing all right.
Any other for the fire department? Moving on to police department, activity reports in your packet. Bob, is there anything you want to point out?
I don't know if it's reflected on that one or not, on that monthly report. We ran a report the other day, calls are up over 30% from last year, which, I mean, makes sense, I mean, everybody's back out and around. But it's definitely made it busy for us lately, so, and it's.
Is that what that is trying to tell us?
Well, actually, that is just total calls.
Okay.
That is total calls for the month of May. If you see the C2 and the others, those are still within ours. The 150 is actually Centralia. C2 is calls that they get confused at first and assign them to. C2 is the sheriff's department zone for Centralia. Well, they get a little confused sometimes and assign them to the sheriff's department, not us. So those numbers actually are still ours, that whole 17 other calls. I looked at it, I think last year this time, at the month of May, it was 620 some calls. So, I mean, that tells you about 150 calls up. But other than that, I mean, as far as the guys are doing a great job, we've got, Moseco got released. He finished up his almost 10 weeks of FTO training, so he's on his own. He's enjoying life. Doesn't have to ride around Paris anymore, so he's pretty happy. He's not forced to.
Any other questions about the activity report? You know, Chief of Police monthly report. So you've done a lot of training.
Oh, yes. If I can. We did get the Murmah simulator up here on May 11th, which was a blast, and actually the guy from Murmah was very impressed because I think we ended up with 80% turnout. And yes, I was under the understanding initially that, you know, everybody had to participate, and then he said, no, he said, I just have to bring it up. As many people participate. I said, okay. And it happened to two guys that had small babies that day, so the fact was, I don't know that we're gonna put them in a backpack and make them come with them, but anyway, the shooting simulator went really well, and then, you know, we've, Officer Davenport and I, that 24-hour counterterrorism officer training, Homeland Security, that is an ongoing thing. I've actually got another training for that the end of the month. I don't remember what it is. Of course, on there it says, you know, I went to the police chief's conference at the beginning of May. That was a really good conference. Lots of good stuff in there. Then Davenport's going to the SRO conference into this month. Then, as you see there, the 4 trainings, that number's higher than I did this 2 weeks ago, as far as how many have completed that MIRMA courses. But with that, we're switching over from Lexipol to this new virtual academy. I've talked to the folks from MIRMA, I've talked to people from Virtual Academy. This stuff is going to have everything we need with the exception of the firearms, which we just completed our spring firearms qualification. So everybody's done. So the 24 hours that are required by the state of Missouri, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, is 22 of it you can do online. Now, I will tell you that we are, as the police department, are completing approximately 40 hours over that this year with the training calendar that I put out. Not all of it is post-training. A lot of it is, but some of it is not. So the fact is, you're looking at about 50 to 55 hours for each officer. I've got a little more than that, but there's some that do have more. So with that said, you know, we just finished our 4th Amendment Search Procedure class last week. That was a good class. Lots of good information from prosecutorial services in the state of Missouri. They had a Highway Patrol guy came in and taught it. He's an interdiction guy from Highway Patrol, and he had a lot of really good information. So just to let you know, we're not just doing the minimums. We're going to exceed that by quite a bit, actually. So I just wanted you all to understand that, you know, as I put this stuff on here, there's stuff I do forget. Even though I write it down, there's stuff I do forget. And I don't want to go on and on and on, but, you know, we've had guys work the car show the other day. That was a pretty good turnout. If you didn't get to see the car show, you know, you have any idea how many entries we ended up with? Did you ever hear?
169, wasn't that, Christina?
I think so, close to.
Oh, I should have asked you, yeah.
Yeah.
It was that plus another 25 that just kind of showed up.
Oh, okay, so there you go, close to 200. So like I said, lots of people in town, not a problem working. It all flowed very well. And
Are the new cameras working out well?
new cameras are great. I think Tim and I finally healed from installing them. But like I said, the new cameras are wonderful. And like I said, I mean, the pan-tilt zoom that's over there, I mean, yeah, it's just great.
Good.
Other than that, I think I'm it.
Anything else for the police department? Emergency management? No. Okay, couldn't tell if you were about to say something. Protective inspection?
Yes, we have actually had several demolition permits pulled, requested. We, 147 Burnett, which has been topic of conversation a lot for the last year, at least in here, we talked quite a bit about it. The owner, which lives in California, sent me an email and said, because it's getting close to the time that I was getting ready to schedule an administrative hearing, and I'm not quite sure that I'm not going to do that. I'm waiting to hear back from somebody else. But anyway, sent me an email and said, I have a contract to sell it. I told him that I was going to continue to move forward with any abatement process unless I had proof that he actually had a contract on it this time. And he did, and it's a local person. So I've contacted that person to find out what the status is with that property before I proceed with an abatement hearing on it. So I'll let you know for sure on that. 602 East Lakeview, they're taking it down and have a building permit. Okay, yeah, hopefully that happens. And then there's one on Jenkins that's being taken down, and then another one on Allen Street, 415 Allen. Oh, it's Rollins, not Jenkins, sorry.
Yeah, Rollins will be down this weekend.
Yeah, that's,
The
that
one-
wasn't on our list, but it's coming down.
Yeah, the one on Allen, that guy sold it to somebody here in town. So,
Okay, so that's not,
yeah, he told me, cause I was gonna help him tear it down,
Yeah.
and somebody contacted him and bought it as
Okay.
is, so.
okay, that's the one that burned on Allen Street. There's
Yes.
another one that burned on Allen Street, the 600 block of Allen, that's already down, and, they're gonna rebuild there. And then,
Let's follow up on who bought that property that burnt on
Yeah, we
415.
will. Yeah.
And get after them.
yeah, I will find out. 425 South Allen is another one that we'll look at to schedule an abatement hearing for, and I worked on that notice today. I just need to talk to the mayor because he will preside over that hearing. So I need to set a date for that with him. I have to give them at least 30 days notice, so right now, that's the only one set for an abatement hearing, is 425 South Allen.
It was 425.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Moving on, general government and finance, economic development, chamber of commerce reports, I don't see that in the packet. Park board, there's a meeting agenda and meeting notes. Any questions or comments on that?
I think the information that went out in the newsletter, the city newsletter, was based on old information from the pool that they had sent us. So it did not get updated with the new hours, so we're trying to fix that. So if anybody asks you about the pool hours, the most up-to-date information is on the Parks and Rec Facebook page.
Is it on ours?
I'd have to see if Sam shared it. She was supposed to share it. I thought she did.
Because that's where I tend to go when people ask me questions. It's the easiest
Right.
place to check ours.
Yeah, I've asked her to share that information from them, so.
Library board, I don't see any information. Committee reports, cemetery advisory committee, wind tree board, I don't see any reports.
I might give you a quick update about the cemetery with the flags and everything going on that we did out there, and they're gonna do the whole, which is gonna take care of a big problem. I mean, there's some people that want to get involved. The committee is now got a chair and a vice chair. And Earl and I on Saturday went and looked out there at the building that they put the flags up one time and we're going to, or they built a room into. And we've actually talked about trying to get the community fundraiser or labor help to build a pad right beside there, building their own building, so that those flags are out there at the point of use. First they have to be transported back and forth and up and downstairs, and now they're downstairs here. They really need to be out there. They can pull their, if it's done right, we'll be able to pull it up there. So just so you know, the cemetery board's looking into helping them with the flags in that program. They're kind of tied together, just so you know. And so thanks for your help on what you guys are going to do, Denny, as well. Let me know how I can help you with that.
All right, it says financial statements, the accounts payable of 1,250 is the next document. Any questions or comments on that? Heather, did you want to point out anything on the financials?
Well, just on, the mayor brought it up to me. So our policy for demolition of houses, reimbursement, states that we will reimburse up to $1,500, but it specifically says that we will not reimburse for their own work. And I need to check with city to see if that's something in the state, that's a state statute or something that says that we cannot reimburse for that. Because there are other cities that do the same thing. I know that it's in their policies for the light removal. There was somebody that had, I don't know, they had $800 or something in demolition costs because they did the majority of the work themselves. So we only reimbursed what they actually paid out. And so that's why this was brought up. You know, why did they not get the full $1,500 whenever they demolished it and did everything that they were supposed to. So I'm checking into that, and I'll just bring more information to the board whenever I have it.
Any other general government? As may arise. Would you like to speak?
Absolutely.
I figured that's why you're
Is now a good time?
Absolutely.
So again, Joy, talking to this. I'm State Representative Cherie Tolson Reich, and my legislative assistant schedules me every June to come to all my city's council meetings and school board meetings. And my calendar said Centralia School Board. And I've been sitting over at the intermediate school, and nobody came and nobody came. And thank you, James Smith, for me messaging you. And I'm like, is there a council meeting tonight, not a school board meeting? So I was in the wrong place, right town, but wrong place. So I apologize for that. Every year I like to give you all just a brief legislative update. I was all prepared to give a school update and school foundation formula monies and transportation money. So anyway, every year I like to just bring you all a free Missouri and American flag. I'll just sit over here. About 2 years ago, I was able to pass a law for you all to put on the ballot, which passed for law enforcement, public safety, for your fire department and police sales tax. And I've been trying that the last 2 years from Hallsville, and I can't get it across the finish line. So you all were very lucky. So I'm glad I was able to accomplish that for you all. Anytime you all have any questions, need any help, Heather, I think there's still maybe 2 unclaimed property monies on there. If you need assistance with that, I've been on the phone with my smallest city of Clark today, and they were having trouble getting their money, and so I had to kind of put some pressure on the state treasurer's office, and now they're going to get their check. So if you have any troubles with that, I had trouble as a city clerk in Hallsville to get my money.
I did too. I've sent the request twice.
And so did Clark.
Yeah, and they.
I will email them tomorrow and we will get you a check, okay?
Thank you.
So, it's not uncommon, and you would think government could be more efficient, but no, it has to be difficult and convoluted, so I apologize. We'll get you that money, because I've been dubbed the official ambassador for unclaimed property. I returned like $1 million to thousands of people, and last year I found a colleague state rep $19,000. So anyway, normally I run all your names before I come in case you all would have money, but since I didn't know I was going to be here tonight, I thought I'd be down the street at the school. I did not have time to do that. But thank you all. I love Centralia. I was here for the Memorial Day service. The mayor gave the speech at, and I have family in Centralia now, and my family's from Centralia and Hallsville, so I love the community. Thank you. And James, can I leave you something, or do you want me to put it in the Dropbox at your work? Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'm just going to take a quick picture if you all don't mind, and then I'll get out of your way. The bad part was my phone crashed on Saturday, and I was without a phone for 24 hours, and I had to go get a new one, and I don't even know how to operate it yet. So it's like, I think that works. I hate getting a new phone. Thank you.
Bye. Any other as memorized? Entertain a motion to
Make
adjourn.
a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We stand adjourned.